Welcome to Slapshot Podcast, episode number 67. I'm your host, Christopher Morais. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. Welcome in. Trickle on in. Come on in. Hey. We're 1 week closer to the start of the NHL season. I can't wait. I can't wait at all. I just want it to come right now. But we're going to have to take a moment to get there. Anyways. We got a jam-packed episode today. Lots of things we got to go through. And by lots of things, I mean I'm going to try to beat Puckdoku without cheating. Okay. And by popular demand, we're going to look at the Montreal Canadiens team preview because some of you wanted me to talk about the Montreal Canadiens, and I mean, you don't have to tell me twice to do that, right? You don't have to tell me twice. Before we get all of that, a big round of applause to all of you right here. Let me get the right sound here. Clapping. There we go. Round of applause to all of you for tuning in, watching on the YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, wherever you get your podcast. A round of applause. Thank you. If you are new here and you stumbled in because of the algorithm, thanks for being here. Go ahead, hit the sub button. Ring the bell on YouTube. All right. Thank you. We're up to 84 followers. That is massive. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can do so, or X, whatever you want to call it, at FuzzyChris91. Follow the podcast as well on Twitter at SlapshotPod. Yeah, just leave a like, a review, a comment, or something. The YouTube comments were nice. I had a couple of good videos there. They were nice. That's different for me. That's different. Before we get into that, we're going to cover a couple of things. The Seattle Kraken have re-signed Adam Larsson. So it's a 4-year contract, $5.25 million. Good for him. Some official stuff as well, I guess. Tyson Barrie is on a PTO in Calgary, I believe. Yes. They also signed Jared Tenorti, 2-way deal. Great, I guess. I don't know how Jared Tenorti got a deal, but Tyson Barrie's on a PTO. This homie, by the way, I know it was a lockout shortened season. Not lockout. COVID shortened season. Words are hard. I know that, like, he's not the greatest defender, but still, like, I think he did a pretty good job, and he's only on a PTO. Wild. Also, the Toronto Maple Leafs have signed Nick Robertson. He was unsigned, RFA. Wanted to go somewhere else. I mean, they got a 1-year deal for like $800 and some odd thousand. Good for him. My understanding is that he still wants to leave Toronto. I'm gonna say this. I get sometimes players want an opportunity, but that Toronto left side has lots of space for Nick Robertson if he wants to take it. And I get maybe wanting a fresh start or to get an opportunity. And sometimes players don't get it through no fault of their own, right? Like, look at Askarov with the Predators, right? There was just no room for him. And I get him wanting to go somewhere else. But Nick Robertson has the opportunity. If he doesn't want to be in Toronto for other reasons, cool. Toronto Maple Leafs also talking about signing Max Pacioretty, which, again, you can, but I mean, then if you do that, then why would you keep Robertson? You should keep Robertson instead of Max Pacioretty. You can find a veteran winger anywhere. But anyways, we'll see how that plays out. All right. We're gonna get right into this. We're gonna get right into Puckdoku. I am 0 for 1 so far this year. Okay. Year just started though. Lots of time. Okay. Let me pull this here. We put this here. Hold on. I just want to make sure. Oh, it's already massive. All right. Let's move this. There we go. Okay. Can you see this? Yes, you probably can. Okay. Here we go. We got Puckdoku. If you're brand new here, you have no idea how this works. Let me inform you. So this is basically like Sudoku, but with hockey teams. I basically have to guess. So if we use the first one here, LA and Florida, I have to pick one player that has played both in LA and Florida. Now, we have a little bit of a challenge here because now I have to pick players who have played as well in the Western Hockey League. And I am not very good at determining like for like players who played their junior years, whether it's college or in the Canadian Hockey League here. I'm not going to say that I'm going to fail, but this is definitely one step back from last week, and I did miserably last week. I just want you to know that. So not good for me, but I will try to the best of my abilities to do this. Okay. And yeah, I just want you to know that I struggle with this. All right. I like I said, I'm not gonna cheat. All right. I'm not gonna cheat, but I just feel like I'm not very good at this game, and I'm going to get better as time moves on. All right, let's start with Boston and Minnesota, because as I was looking at Charlie Coyle, I believe, played for both of them. He did. There we go. All right, good start for me. Good start for me. Okay, now I have to find. All right, let's do LA. I'm trying to think if did Cam Talbot play in Minnesota? Okay, wait, hold on. I'm not gonna get it wrong right off the rip, okay? Because I can do better than this. All right, I can do better than this. Oh man, Philadelphia and Florida. What about the LAK? Oh, what's his name? Kevin Fiala. Okay, Kevin Fiala. Boom. All right, these are very common though. The little percentage, 25%, is how many people guess it, right? In that spot, a lot of people try to use the uniqueness, right down here. You see where it says 50 to try to be like how unique yours was versus everybody else. I literally don't care about uniqueness. I'm trying to finish this. Just trying to finish it. Okay. I didn't think I'd get 2 Minnesota players right off the rip like that, but I mean, good for me. All right, this is where I stalled last week as well, so we're gonna do a lot better. We're gonna do a lot better now. Let's see, Florida and the Kings. I was thinking of. No, he didn't play there either. I'm gonna be honest. I have no thoughts about players who played in the West in the Western Hockey League. Like I can't. Like I literally can't think of a single one. So that's not good. Let me see if I can do the teams first. Florida. Okay, let's focus on Florida here. Florida and the LA Kings. I'm trying to think of that lineup. No, Evan Rodriguez. No, I was thinking of Evan Rodriguez. What about Boston and Florida? I feel like they would have had some turnover there as well. Did Sean Thornton play in Florida as well? I'm trying to think of players who have played for like a lot of different teams. And I'm like, maybe that would have helped. But I can't really think of a ton of players. I was thinking of Nick Delorier for the Flyers and Minnesota. He didn't play in Minnesota. He played in Anaheim. What about some goalies? What do we think of some goalies? There's been some goalies around the league. Why can't I remember where Cam Talbot has played before? He played with the Kings. I just don't know if he played in Florida. No, he definitely didn't play in Florida. That okay? No, that's not it here. All right, I'm in a pickle right off the rip, and it's not going well. I have a lot of work to do, and I don't even know if I know any players that have played in the West, in the Western Hockey League. So this is gonna be fun. Why am I so bad at this? Okay, let's think this through. I really want to say Sean Thornton, but I know he played. I just don't know if he played in. I don't think he played in Florida. Like I said, I'm trying to think of some players who have like been around the league a minute. You know, like players who have played for multiple teams usually get a couple of spots in there. Oh my god. I got a Sean Walker here, but he didn't play in Florida. I literally can't think of a single player that has played in the Western Hockey League. I just want you to know that. I can't think of a single one because I don't watch junior hockey or the Western Hockey League in particular. Oh, baby. And the Florida Panthers and the Minnesota Wild are like, not that they're relatively new teams, you know what I mean, but they're not like 50-year-old franchises either. So all right, I got to start making some choices here. You know what I mean? I got to start advancing. So no. Did Joe Thornton play in the Western Hockey League? I'm trying to think. Did he play college? No, there's no way he played college. He's Canadian. Take a shot here. All right, I got to take some shots. Joe Thornton? Wrong. Okay, so Joe Thornton did not play in the Western Hockey League. Cool. I hate myself right now. What about the Flyers and the Wild? I could get this done at least. Like I feel like I should know some players who have played for the Flyers over the last couple of years. I'm not going to cheat though. I just want you to know I'd rather go down swinging here than cheat. I can't think of a single player. I'm so bad at this game. Like it's astonishing. It's astonishing how terrible I am at it. I don't even know why I chose this. I didn't have to. All right, so we're already not getting a perfect bracket, which is tough for me to listen and understand. I'm also trying to keep this podcast shorter than last week's hour, just so you can listen to it. Okay, wait. I have to settle in. Let me think here, okay? Let me think. Let me think. Boston. Okay. Boston, Florida. Boston and WHL is going to be impossible, so Boston and Florida. Who's played in Boston and who's played in Florida at the same time at any point in their careers? Literally can't think of anybody right now. I literally can't think of anybody right now. What about the Kings in Florida? I feel like there's a connection here at some point. Jeff Carter keeps coming to my head, but I know he didn't play in Florida. But you see, like, that's the type of player that I'm thinking of. What if Philadelphia and Minnesota is kind of annoying me here? No, Ryan Reeves. Did Ryan? Oh, it doesn't matter, right? I was gonna say Ryan Reeves, but he didn't play in Philly. But you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to think of. Oh, did Scotty Upshaw play in Florida and Boston? Did he play in Boston? I don't know why Scotty Upshaw popped there. Boston and Florida? Wrong. Okay. But did he not play in Boston? What about here? Did Scotty Upshaw play here? Okay. Look, It's not a perfect bracket, but I was right that he played somewhere here. Okay. 2% of people. I don't know why I thought of Scotty Upshall all of a sudden. Oh my God. Okay. And I feel like the Kings in the Western Hockey League would have been good. Quentin Byfield? Quentin Byfield's Canadian, right? Did he play in the Western Hockey League? Oh my God. I don't know why I keep doing the Western Hockey League. I don't know any players that are there. What are the options here? I'm not going to open the summary. I'm also not going to give up. Kings in Florida. I feel like I should be able to get this. Same thing. I feel like I should be able to get Boston and Florida. Like I feel like I should. Like there's enough here that I should be able to get that. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of defensemen for the Kings, but I know that's not a good one. I'm trying to think back to some of those Kings teams that were like way back in the day. Did Keith Kincaid? I feel like Keith Kincaid played on so many teams. I feel like he's got to be Boston, Florida. He is not Boston, Florida. Okay. Well, did he play in the Western Hockey League? No. I'm not gonna. This is not good. It's not good. I think I'm gonna do worse than last week. Which is fair. This has been an absolute train wreck. If I just type some letters. I'm just typing. Just see if they can help me out here. G. Marion Gaborik, Eric Gustafson. There's some good names here, by the way. Ryan Getzlav, Marcel Gach. Oh my God. Sergei Gonchar, Hal Gill. Oh, did Gagne? No, Small Gagne didn't play. Oh, did Small Gagne play in the Western Con? No, he would have played in Quebec, right? Okay. I don't know. I have given up here. I'm so bad at this game. It's honestly wild. Let's just Oh, Rich Peverly? I don't know why that name popped up in my head here. No, he didn't. Okay. So I got 3 out of 9, which is terrible. Open summary? No. View stats? Okay, here. Okay. So let's see what some people should. Oh my God. Jerome McGinley did play in the Western Hockey League. Carter Hart did as well. I would have never guessed that. Milan Lucic. Yarmir Yager would have played everywhere. Claude Giroux. Yes. Oli Jokinen played for the Kings? Ilya Brizgalov. Okay. Okay. Well. Oh my God. Look at this. Yeah, that nobody's getting the best game. Okay, so I didn't do a very good job, okay? Didn't do a very good job. We're 0-2. We're 0-2, okay? Just all right. Well, that was fun. Okay. Let's move on here. Let's talk about the Montreal Canadiens instead. Okay. Let's talk about the Montreal Canadiens. A lot of you wanted to talk about them. If you missed it last week, because maybe you didn't watch, and it's fine. You can go back and watch it on demand, if you want. Let me just log in here quickly. All right. So, some people are like, "Hey, what do you think about the Montreal Canadiens?" And I think that they are good. You know what I mean? I got, where is it here? Okay. So we placed two of them. Again, if you were here last week, then this is some repeat to you. We took the Ottawa Senators under 90.5 points, minus 115. You can still get the same odds. The Montreal Canadiens over 76.5 at minus 130. Okay. It's $25 bet each. We're good from there. So I obviously expect the Montreal Canadiens to outperform their 76 points. Okay. We're not telling you something you haven't heard before. Okay. Now, let's bring in something that's more important here. This is the Montreal Canadiens roster-ish, courtesy of the good folks over at Daily Faceoff. Okay. Now, I get it. Right? This is a projected lineup. A lot of things can change. All right. But I'm going to tell you why I think this team can at least compete for a playoff spot. Okay. Now, we can agree to disagree. But remember, my opinion is 100% correct. So, you do what you want with that information. Now, let's start with, I'm not worried about power plays and stuff like that. Let's start with the most important here, okay? Which is goaltending, okay? Don't worry about Kirby Dach. And Raphael Harvey-Pinard is going to start on IR. We know that, but that doesn't move the needle for me anyway. Sam Montembeault and Caden Primo. I believe, I truly do, that this could be a good tandem, okay? I think Caden Primo can be a good goalie until the next wave of goalies come up, right? Like Jacob Fowler. I think Fowler could be the goalie of the future. He's going back to Boston. Being a goalie in the NHL is hard. Developing as a goalie in the NHL is hard. It's going to take some time. Some of you think he's going to show up in the NHL and torch. May I remind you that when Carey Price first showed up, he was not very good. Some of you thought we should trade him. And then, oh, by the way, turn his career around. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So it takes time for goalies to develop. But I think Samuel Montembeault and Caden Primo can be okay, right? I think probably a 60-40 split with Montembeault getting most of the starts is okay. And look, if you want to run with whoever has the hot hand, I'm not against it. We good with that, fam. You know what I mean? We're not going to spend too much time on the goaltending here, okay? Because it's there's two of them. Let's go to the defenseman here, okay? Now, the way they have it set up here, I'm not worried about who's playing with who. You can kind of figure that out as the season goes. I know some of you are saying, Chris, I don't see Logan Mailloux here. I think he will start the year in Laval. Right? His offensive game, we know, can be very good, but I think a little bit of seasoning for his defensive game is still needed. The same thing with David Reinbacher. I don't think he's coming up and these guys are going to have prominent positions within, on the team, okay? And here's my theory as well. For Reinbacher and for Mailloux, I would much rather them play in Laval, see significant minutes, than play in the NHL and play, let's say, on the third pairing here. Right? That, to me, I think that's better there, right? Arbor Xhekaj, we know defensively, it's tough to be a defenseman in the NHL. Justin Barron, the same thing as well. He spent some time in Laval as well. So And you can limit the ice time for both those players. You know what I mean? They don't have to be playing 24 minutes a night. You can get them within the like 15 to 17 range, and you're getting a lot out of them. Okay. David Savard, obviously, you need him. You need some veteran leadership on the team. Like David Savard is a guy who will give it to that. Lane Hudson is the guy that I am the most excited for. Okay. Because now I understand the comparisons and people like to hear that. And like a lot of people are comparing him to Cale Makar in Colorado. Okay. Now we're going to pump the brakes there a little bit. I would love for Lane Hudson to turn into Cale Makar. Cale Makar is a unicorn. He is a special player. Okay. So I do think Lane Hudson, obviously he has that offensive skill. He is really good on his feet. He's quick. He's agile. He can move the puck. The Montreal Canadiens don't have a defenseman. I mean, Mike Matheson can do it, but they don't have the next wave of defensemen that can move the puck. And that is exceptionally important, in my mind at least, to have a good transition game, right? A good first pass or a defenseman that can move the puck up the ice is important. Arbor Xhekaj is not that guy, okay? I don't think Caden Gooley's that guy either. David Savard definitely isn't. Justin Barron, I don't know yet, right? But Lane Hudson can be a guy who can move it. I was also listening to Kent Hughes talk about Lane Hudson and saying, hey, if he has to go to Laval, right, Montreal Canadiens farm team, and develop, he will go. And I think that is correct as well. Because you don't want to turn Lane Hudson into just a one-dimensional kind of offensive-only player. And I'm not going to throw any shade here, okay, at Evan Bouchard, okay? But Evan Bouchard, obviously his offensive game is a lot better than his defensive game. Is he a power play specialist? I don't think so. But he's not a complete rounded defenseman. But offensively very gifted, okay? I'm not going to take anything away from him. I think Lane Hudson can be a good defenseman all around. The same way Cale Makar is a great defenseman all around, and his foot speed helps him. So I think the development of Lane Hudson, he will get at least 9 games. I believe that he will get at least 9 games, and then the Montreal Canadiens are going to decide what they want to do with him. But when he came up last year, right, for the last few games, he was good. You could see that, you know, he played college hockey because his defensive game was not perfect. But those are things that players will learn. And I am okay with him learning, right? But if he needs to go to Laval, fine. Caden Gooley, to me, is that defenseman who, like, he's going to play big minutes. He's going to be asked to play well defensively. Like, he does so much already. And even Caden Gooley is going to grow into that. Mike Matheson, again, a defenseman who's going to play a lot. I know a lot of people wanted Mike Matheson to be traded, like, over the summer. Mike Matheson finished, what, like top 10 in points for a defenseman or something like that? Like, we're not just giving that away. We still need defensemen who can do that. He can still play the top power play unit. I know sometimes people say that he doesn't facilitate the puck around as much. Maybe the Montreal Canadiens turn to 2 defensemen on the power play. Maybe you get Lane Hudson to man that top line. I don't know, but I have no problem. I think this defense core is good. Again, it's a good problem to have when you have too many young defensemen who are coming up and are trying to make it a full-time gig in the NHL. And again, for the same thing for defensemen, it is a grueling process to learn the position, right? Goalies take forever. Defensemen also. It's about positioning. It's about your stick. It's about winning battles. And there's a whole bunch of things, right? It's one of the hardest positions to play, right, you know, behind goaltending, of course. Goaltending is the toughest, okay? So we've gone through the defense here. I think this is fine. This is not a bottom half defensive group. It's going to be electric at times, and there's going to be mistakes, but we live with them, okay? Now, let's look at the offense for a minute, okay? Let's remove the ad here. Oh, stop seeing this ad. Ad was inappropriate. Okay. No, I can't get it. All right, cool. Let's start with the bottom line. Yoel Armia, Jake Evans, and Brendan Gallagher. I mean, Brendan Gallagher is no longer a top 6 forward, man. Homie is struggling. And he has given the Montreal Canadiens everything that he has. His heart, his soul, his body. He's given everything. Is he overpaid now? Sure. He was underpaid for a long time. I can live it. I think Jake Evans in that, fourth center spot is probably where he needs to be. That's who he is, right? I know a lot of people like Jake Evans and they think he's more than that. He's not. He's a fourth line center at best. All right. Yoel Armia, we have seen flashes of him trying to be good. He's just flashes. He's not consistent enough for a top 9 role. I think he's just there. Right? He is what it is. Montreal Canadiens' third line, I think, is where you can get some really good value here. So, who is Christian Dvorak? Is he an offensive producing center? No. I think he needs to be more of a secondary shutdown center, right? I think Nick Suzuki and that top line, they're going to have tough minutes. And Nick Suzuki plays all kinds of positions. Like, he plays everywhere. He plays a ton of minutes, power play, penalty kill. He plays against the opposing team's best lines. I think Dvorak can help there. I think Joshua Waugh as well can help there. And if you want to slot him on the wing, fine. I think he can play center. Ideally, he would center that third line, and Christian Dvorak can pack his bags and we can ship him off somewhere else. Okay? But it's unlikely at this point. So make best of it. I want to believe in Josh Anderson. I just can't. This homie's got everything that he needs to be successful. He's big. He can skate. Homie can put his shoulder down, drive the net, and good things will happen. He's not a top 6 forward. He's not. He's just not. So whatever you get out of him now, again, same thing not like Gallagher, obviously. Josh Anderson is not. Contract's not great, but it is what it is. So we're going to accept it. We're going to soak it up. We're going to live with it and hope he can return on his value. And maybe some easier matchups will help him, but I don't know. All right. The second line here, I quite enjoy. Okay. A healthy Kirby Dach is a good Kirby Dach. This was a former 3rd overall pick. Okay. And Kirby Dach has everything that he needs to be successful. He is big. He can skate. To me, right? He's a centerman. He's smart. There's a lot to love here with Kirby Dach. It's all about him being healthy. And so far, he has not been healthy. So I don't know what we're going to get out of him. But he drives his line. Right? I think playing him with Patrick Laine is good. Kirby Dach, Patrick Laine, by the way, 2 big boys. Okay? There's a lot of size there. I like that. Do I like that Alex Newhook is on this line? Less. I think Newhook is better as a centerman. Okay. So right now, I think the Montreal Canadiens lack some depth on their left side. Okay. I think the right side is okay. The left side, to me, specifically Newhook and Waugh, to me, they are centermen. And I think you would get more depth out of them if you had Newhook on the third line, right? Centering the third line, and Joshua Waugh can center the fourth. Okay. I think there's better value. And that means Dvorak and Evans are not there, and I'm not crying if they got traded. Okay. But I can live with Newhook on that left side for now. There is a ton of speed there for Newhook. A little bit smaller player, so playing him with 2 good players as well. He's a guy who can get down there, create some speed, attract the defenseman to move towards him. And then Patrick Laine, we know, has he's got an NHL shot, an elite NHL shot. He can bury the puck. The goal is simple, right? It's to get the puck on his stick and then let him rip, right? He's a right-handed shot. Everything's there for Laine to succeed. So I think that line can be good. I'd much rather see I know that Montreal doesn't have it. They don't have a second line left winger, but it is what it is. The top line is obviously where where most of the play is going to come from. I don't know if I mentioned it. I don't know if we did last podcast or not, but shout out to Cole Caulfield. He changed his number. He is no longer number 22. He has switched to number 13 for Johnny Gaudreau, who obviously passed away. So he's going to wear number 13 in honor of him. Round of applause. big shout out to, Cole Caulfield for wanting to do it. The NHL as well allowed the exemption because apparently there is a cutoff time to when players can change numbers. A whole mess of reasons for that, obviously, right? Marketing and jersey sales and not. But it was a no-brainer to let him do it, so good on him. Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slafkovsky is, it is what it is, right? I would have no problem, and I'm going to say this, having Slafkovsky play on that second line with Doc and Laine. That is a big boy line, right? Big boy. Kirby Doc can move the puck. Slafkovsky's got that, that big size that I think he's starting to figure out how to use. And Laine is an absolute ripper of a puck. Okay? It is. I understand why maybe you don't want to do that, because then Newhook, Suzuki, and Caulfield's a pretty, I'm not going to say small, but they're obviously not the biggest players, right? And to me, like Nick Suzuki is one of the best centermen in the NHL, and you can fight me if you want. But he is so smart. He's such a good passer. He can drive the play. He's good defensively. And you got to get Cole Caulfield the puck, man. Homie can wire it. We know that. That right side is loaded, right? Caulfield and Laine are two guys who can fire the puck. So you got to figure out in whatever way you can to make sure that puck ends up on their stick and they wire it, because they are elite in every way, shape, and form. Caulfield can score 40 goals. And I know all of you are coming out of the bushes. Yeah, he's a funny goal scorer who's never scored 40 goals. I get it. Also, didn't ask. I think this could be another year, another step for these two. I think Caulfield can flirt with that. He stays healthy. The Montreal Canadiens now have, they stay healthy. We see an uptick in goals here. Power play gets a little bit better. Caulfield's going to rip him, all right? I can live with Juraj Slafkovsky being on that top line. This line was dominant last year. Their possession numbers were really good. Slafkovsky brings that size. He's starting to, he finished last year playing with a lot of confidence. A lot. This is a guy who, especially for fantasy hockey, he's a guy who can score some goals, rack up some points, and, oh, by the way, throw his weight around. I think he had 150 hits last year. 50 points, 150 hits. Not many players got into that category, okay? I'm just saying. So I expect that entire top line to take an even bigger step. For Slafkovsky, it's, maybe racking up a little bit more points, a full, consistent year. For Caulfield, it's the uptick on those goals. For Suzuki, I think he can flirt with a point per game and maybe even a little bit more. I don't know if he's a 90-point player, but I do think he's an 80-point player. I definitely think it does. So let's go through this here quickly again. The bottom six, it is what it is, right? There's some veterans down there. I expect them to do the bottom six roles. The left side's lacking a little bit. You kind of put it together. I think the right side, specifically, that, Caulfield and Laine, chef's kiss. Really good. Down the middle, there's a lot of centermen there. Suzuki's elite. Doc stays healthy. Dvorak and Evans just stay healthy and don't do anything you shouldn't do, okay? Offensively, I think they should be fine. There should be an uptick in goals, okay? Which is why I also think the Montreal Canadiens should get more than 76.5 points this season. Because, yes, you got to be better defensively, which I think the Montreal Canadiens are going to get there. It's going to be growing pains, all right? Because, again, this is a young group. This is a young group of defensemen, okay? There's going to be learning pain. There's going to be learning, curves and growing pains. They're going to be just fine. I think they're going to be okay. There's a lot of youth. There's a lot of talent here. That's the one thing. There's talent. And if that talent can transition into making good decisions, playing the system, controlling the puck, they're going to be just fine. Okay? And then it's goaltending. Your goalie's got to be, especially for the Montreal Canadiens, for the better part of the last 20 years, your goalie has had to be your best player every year. Right? No arguments there. Carey Price was arguably the best player on his team for multiple years. Okay? It's going to have to happen again. But overall, okay, I think Samuel Montembeault and Caden Primo, the fact that this is no longer a three-headed monster, I think will help. Another year for Caden Primo, aging into it, getting better, seeing some regular starts. That's important for a goalie. You can't expect a goalie to have success playing once a week because you got 3 goalies and you don't always rotate them equally. So I think that's fine there. I expect Samuel Montembeault to get most of the starts. Caden Primo, like I said, 60-40 split here, I would be okay with. But to me, this is a good team. They're not elite by any sense. They're not winning the Stanley Cup, all right? Paced out. But this is not a bottom 5 team either, okay? So show them some respect. It's not a bottom 5 team. I think they can compete for a playoff spot. I do. I think the Montreal Canadiens as well, their odds are what? Hold on. Let me pull this here quickly. Hold on. If I'm not mistaken, obviously now I'm trying to find what I'm looking for here. So that's going to be futures to reach the playoffs. The Montreal Canadiens are plus 550. Let me just bring it here for you back here. Okay. There you go. I know maybe it's a little small. Plus 550. Before the Patrick Laine trade, by the way, I tweeted this, and obviously you follow me on Twitter at FuzzyChris91. They were plus 700. Again, they're minus 900 for no. I just think that plus 550 is quite the number there, okay? But I think they can at least be a team at the deadline that says, hey, we're not immediately selling, right? We have pieces here, and you just want this team to be competitive. If they miss the playoffs by like 7-8 points, all right. It's fine. This is not a bottom 5 hockey team, all right? Show them the respect that they deserve. So I think the Montreal Canadiens are going to be just fine. I think this is the last year for the, quote-unquote, rebuild. I think we're at the bottom of the valley. You know when the valley goes down, right? Like here. Now we're on the part where it's starting to turn. All right? We're starting to turn. Now we're going to go up. And I think as of next year, when Demidov shows up, right? When Demigod's in the lineup, now we're going to start to really start to ascend. Instead of descending, we're going to ascend. Okay? We're almost there, half sense. I know it's been long. It's been a long time. That playoff run during the COVID year seems like it was like 20 years ago. Okay? I get it. It's been a minute. But we're getting there. There are some brighter days ahead of us. All right? So that's my take on the Montreal Canadiens. That, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of the podcast. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate all of you so much. If you haven't already, okay, make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube, hit the sub button, ring the bell, okay? I know you're doing it right now just because I said it, so I'm going to give you a round of applause. There you go. All right. Thank you. As well, like I said, me on Twitter, the podcast on Twitter at Slapshot Podcast. You can also, if you want, I set up an Instagram. So some of those reels and like stuff can go up there, right? At Slapshot Podcast, 2 T's. Somebody already has the first one, apparently. Make sure you follow the TikTok as well. Some cool stuff there, funny stuff. If you enjoy any of this content, obviously leave a like and review and everything, or drop a comment. Even if like I said, I got some positive comments. I was expecting some hate. I got some positivity out of it. I'm just as shocked as you guys are, because I'm here to stir it up. You know what I mean? Get a little salt, pepper in there, make it hot. But yeah, that was good. So leave a comment. Tell me what you think, if the Montreal Canadiens are a playoff team or not. All right. You guys have been fantastic as always. I appreciate you. All right. We will see each other next week. All right. Maybe next week we do a little live mock. Maybe we don't. I don't know. I am thinking about doing maybe a live stream, and we could do like, I don't know, a bunch of mock drafts together or stuff like that. If you want to join, hang out, go through that. So make sure to do that. Also, I will be Total Hockey Now is on Wednesday. Usually we do it on Thursday. We're going to do it on Wednesday. Make sure you hang out with myself, Anthony Rivera, Adam Bernard. We're going to have a great time. As always, thank you so much. All right. And yeah, see each other again soon, all right?